Hello, my name is Matthew Mohaupt. I'm currently a junior at UIC. Technically, I'm a junior this semester in the spring semester, but then once the fall semester starts, then I'm a senior. But I go to UIC, I study computer science there. It's pretty cool. And one of the coolest things that I've definitely done at UIC is I've made a better Wordle game. That's correct. You know the Wordle game by New York Times? You know, the one where you uh, guess a five-letter word and you have five tries to guess it? Yeah, I've made a better version of that. Unlimited retries, new words, a timed mode. I mean, I'm very proud of it, and I prefer, even though a lot of people don't like it because it's in the terminal, but I prefer it way more. That's my preferred way to play Wordle. It's my version. Anyway, the course that I'd be demonstrating to teach is Python 101, and the age demographic for that would be like 10 to 12-year-olds. And what I'm going to be demonstrating is Python classes. So a class, right, is we can kind of think of a class as like a blueprint for something. So let's do a classic example as vehicle, right? What is a vehicle, right? It's something that like transports you. We know that, but like we can't really define vehicle, right? We can define what is a vehicle. Like we can say a car is definitely a vehicle. A motorcycle is definitely a vehicle. A plane is a vehicle. But how do we define a vehicle itself? Well, since vehicle would be like a blueprint for these stuff, they got to have some common stuff. So all vehicles will have these traits, right? They'll have a certain number of wheels. We could say that. They definitely have a certain number of doors, or we wouldn't be able to go into vehicles. So we got to have those. We got to have a company that made them, so like a brand. Somebody had to make the vehicle, and then also have to have a type, right? So we don't know what type of vehicle it is because we could just say, oh, it has four wheels, four doors, and it's Toyota, and we can assume that's a car, but it might not be a car. It might be something else. So we'll also define like a type, and these are going to be our descriptors of what a vehicle is. So if we think about vehicle as being a blueprint, then these are all the things that the blueprint has to have in order for us to create a vehicle. Now, let's take an example of like a Toyota Camry, just like a normal car, right? Car. We could say if vehicle is our class, that means car is our object. And an object is an instantiation of that class. We take this class and we make a physical thing out of the blueprints that the class defined. And we're able to do stuff with that object, right? It's a real thing that we can do with. So we can define a car as having four wheels, four doors, and because, I just said Toyota Camry, we'll call our brand Toyota. Toyota, and then the type, it will be a car. And then this is going to be our descriptor for the car object that we made. Now, in Python, there's so if these are blueprints, then we have to know how to make these in Python, because Python is an object-oriented language, meaning that basically everything is made up of classes and objects in Python. And now we want to know how to make our own classes and objects in Python. So an easy way to do that is there's a special keyword that we use in Python to define a class. It's really easy to guess what it is. It is the class keyword. Yeah, that's right. If we want to make a class in Python, we call class. We give it a name, two dots there, and that's how we instantiate. Well, not instantiate, that's how we start off a class in Python. We do class, and we call that. And that's our basic version of the class. But we want our class to have a lot more things than just existing, right? We're going to need a constructor that will be able to make our class object. We'll be able to instantiate this and make this into an actual object. So what we're going to have to define is we're going to have to define init. We're going to have to define itself. Now, what these keywords mean is that init is a function every class has. And what that means is that this is what's called when we create an object from that class. The object's really calling def init. It's calling this init function, and that's going to make the object, right? So we're going to have self, meaning the object itself. This is what it refers to itself as when it's in the class, when it's in the function. We're going to have wheels. We're going to have brand. We're going to have type. Let's just do these things. Or we could also have cart. We could have doors too. Doors too. Now, this is everything we need. We need itself to define the object itself, but then we're also going to need the parameters that we defined before. So we're going to need wheels, the number of wheels that has, what brand made it, the type of vehicle that it is, and how many doors it's going to have, right? So then now, using the self keyword in the function, we'll do self dot wheels is equal to wheels. Now this is kind of confusing, but we're saying that when we define the object, right, when we define itself, the object, it's going to have an attribute called dot wheels. Or the attribute is wheels, number of wheels, the brand, the type, and the number of doors, right? And we're going to set that equal to whatever we set, these parameters here. So when we set the object itself's parameters, like the variables that it's holding, we're going to set it equal to what we inputted it when we defined it. So you'll see that in a little bit. But we'll do the same thing with brand is equal to brand and everything else. Type, self.type is equal to type, self.doors is equal to doors. We understand this. But now we can also do something else that's cool about classes, is that they can have their own functions. Now, init is a function that every class has, but we can also define new functions that's going to have. So we can say like define print, and let's just do print brand, something simple like that. We got to make sure we have self in there because the object itself needs to be able to refer to itself when referencing this method. And so we can do something like print self dot brand plus self dot let's do type, self dot brand, self dot type. So now we defined our class. This is literally our class blueprint. We're saying that's going to have these attributes so that the vehicle is going to have number of wheels, the brand, the type, and the number of doors that it has. And the vehicle will also have a function called print brand, which will print the value of the brand and the type. So now let's get using that class that we made. Now let's say this is our main, right? This is after that main. Main is not really a thing in Python, but it goes through all the code there, and then we're here, right? So if we want to create our object, we're going to do, let's do Camry again, the Toyota Camry, and we're going to define it like this. Camry is equal to vehicle. We use our class keyword, and this is the name of our object that we're going to give, and we're going to define the parameters that we set up for there. So the number of wheels a Toyota Camry has is 4. The brand of it is Toyota. The type it is car. And the number of doors it has is 4. Now, because we have Camry defined, and we also have a function in vehicle, then we can go, okay, Camry dot print brand. And now what that does is that it's going to call the print brand function that we defined before, and it'll print out in the Python terminal. It'll print out the brand that we do, so Toyota, and then the type. So imagine this is the Python terminal. Then once we start our program, then it'll make this vehicle object, it'll make Camry, and then we're going to call print brand. And what print brand will do is that it will print out exactly what we did. So it will print out Toyota, and then it will print Toyota car. And then that's what it'll print, and then that's the end of our program. That's it. And that's basically what we've done. And that's the basics of classes and objects in Python.